Hello everyone, my name is Pramistira Wiraputri, as you can call me Dira. I am a student accounting from Bina Sarana Informatika University with my ID 63241160. And today I'm excited to share with you a topic that close to my heart. That is the incredible diversity of Indonesian cuisine. Indonesia is made up of more than 70,000 islands and with over 1,300 ethnic groups. Our culinary traditions are as rich and varied as our cultures. Indonesian food is not just one single style. It's a colorful mosaic of local flavors shaped by geography, tradition, and history. And let's begin with Sumatra, where bold spices and rich coconut milk are dominated. One of Indonesia's most iconic dishes, rendang, comes from West Sumatra. It's a spicy, slow-cooked beef stew that's packed with flavors and has been called one of the best dishes in the world. Padang cuisine, in general, features strong, fiery flavors, from gulai ayam to sambal ijo. And next, on the island of Java, you will find a range of wide flavors. In Central Java, the food is often sweet, made from young jackfruit and palm sugar. East Java leans more dishes savory like rawon, a black beef soup made with keluak nuts. Java is also famous with its street food culture. Bakso, sate, nasi goreng are everyday favorites for millions. And next, Bali. Bali brings a different touch of Indonesian cuisine. Bali dishes is deeply tied to religion and ceremony. Foods like babi guling and ayam betutu use a spice mix called base genep, which includes turmeric, galangal, garlic, and other herbs. These meals are not only delicious but also meaningful in Balinese Hindu rituals. And next further is Sulawesi. We see hearty meat-based dishes like Coto Makassar and Palu Basah, as well as tangy, spicy seafood in the north. These dishes both reflect local ingredients and the centuries of cultural exchange. And in Maluku and Papua, the diversity continues. These regions often use sago instead of rice, and meals are built around ingredients like sweet potatoes, native herbs, and fresh fish. And for the cooking techniques in Papua, like using batu stone for oven, it shows the strong community of spirit side of food. The question is, with all this variety, what connects Indonesian cuisine as a whole? First, spices. Indonesia is known as a spice island for a reason. From cloves and nutmeg in Maluku and turmeric, also chili across Java, spices are the soul of cooking. Second is rice. As a national staple, rice appears nearly in every meal. But it's just not food, it's a symbol of life, hospitality, and traditions. As is community, Indonesian food are meant to be shared. Whether it's a family gathering, wedding feast, or even eating at a warung, food brings people together. It tells stories, passes down the heritage, and also strengthens our sense of belonging. Okay, and as an English major, I have come to appreciate that food is also a form of language. It expresses the identity, carries history, and creates connections. Indonesia cuisine, in all its diversity, tells the story who we are. Many cultures, one nation. I would like to say thank you for listening me for this round and goes to the round 2. Okay, for this round 2, I will explain what indirect questions are. And as you can see behind me, I have a PPT to present it for you. And I hope it's understandable and easy to learn. So let's get started. What are indirect questions? Indirect questions are more polite or formal than direct questions. So indirect questions help us to sound more polite, like we often use indirect questions for people we don't know well and formal settings. And as you can see at this slide, I have an example for indirect questions that is for the direct, where is the toilet? And we can use the indirect one with, could you tell me where the toilet is? It sounds more polite and also formal. And for the third slide, I have structure of indirect questions that it has two parts. Questions clause with no inverse or no questions, and for the second is introductory phrase. And so I have the example for it. As you can see, I have the questions is, do you know plus where she lives? And why not where does she live? It's because we begin with a phrase like do you know or can you tell me, and then the add actual questions. We don't use the questions word order. Okay, and fourth slide, I have a common introductory phrases that you can see with do you know, could you tell me, I wonder, would you mind telling me? These are some phrases that can help us to start indirect questions, and you can memorize a few or for daily use. Okay, and for the slide 5, I have a direct versus indirect examples. And as you can see at the slide, I have created table of direct and indirect. And let's compare and so we can notice how the structure changed to indirect questions. And first, where is she? And the indirect goes to, could you tell me where he is? And 2, what time does it start? And the indirect goes to, do you know what time it starts? And 3, what time does the bank open? And the indirect goes to, do you know what time the bank opens? And 4, why did you move to Europe? And we can answer the indirect with, I was wondering why you moved to Europe. And last, can you finish the project by tomorrow? And we can answer the indirect with, would it be possible for you to finish the project by tomorrow? Okay, and for the 6th of slide, there is yes or no indirect questions. What the meaning of it? We can use if or whether. And for the example, the direct, is she coming? And for the indirect, we can answer with, do you know if she is coming? It works the same way with yes or no questions. 7. As you can see, I have a topic about why H indirect questions that we can use YH words with who, what, where, when, why, and how. As the example, what time does it open? And the indirect, we can answer, can you tell me what time it opens? We don't use the auxiliary verbs, and we don't invert the subject and the verb. Okay, for the next slide, this is the important thing that common mistakes to avoid when using indirect questions. Let's go over some mistakes to avoid, like don't use question word order, and then don't use auxiliary verbs in direct questions like does, do, or did in the second part. Example is, can you tell me where she lives? Not where does she lives. For the part 9, I have indirect questions in formal and informal context. We can use indirect as a formal settings, but they can also be used in informal as a sound gently. The formal situations, it's for job interviews, email, and business meetings, speaking to someone older in authority, and for the informal situations with friends or family, optional for politeness, to soften a request or show respect. And for the comparison, that the words informal, what time is it? And it's not sound polite, and we can choose indirect questions with a polite or neutral, like, do you know what time it is? Okay, and for the last part, I have a conclusions and tips for you, that is indirect questions are a key part of polite communication in English, and you can use them in a formal conversations. And for the tips for me, practice helps fluency, because the more you practice, the more natural they will sound. And try them to using in emails, daily conversations, or even in speaking tests. Okay, and we are about the end of my presentations. I hope I gave you a clearer understanding of indirect questions. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next video. Bye!